All right, guys, the new MEI MEI is here. This is arguably going to be one of those characters, probably if not the only character, that is going to tempt you to summon when you definitely should not be summoning, okay? Because we do have Honored One Gojo, we have the Teen Nanami and Teen Shoko. All of those characters are limited characters. They will be coming out here fairly soon, and you want to save your cubes for them, right? But I understand wanting to summon for MEI MEI because she is an absolute mommy. However, in terms of kits, in terms of usability, in terms of how good she is not all that great. Like, she's okay, but she's literally middle of the tier list, like at best. That's where she is, just flat out. For anybody wondering, she is middle of the tier list, not top of the tier list, not bottom. She is just overall a mid character. I did get a chance to try her out a little bit on JP, and honestly, even using her personally, I felt like she was a little bit mid. But we'll go over really quickly what she can do, and we'll go over the recollections that come out with her. A little bit interesting, there are 2 recollections here, so if you thought your chances of pulling the character were bad before, well, now there's even more recollections to possibly pull in the pool, so your chances are even lower here, but that's okay. So her skill 1 deals melee attack damage to the target enemy equal to 195% of physical technique, high damage when there is a crit, and then this is all level 10, of course. Her skill 2, shared vision, applies 10.23% damage taken increase to the target enemy or enemies for 3 turns, and applies 100% damage dealt increase to self for 3 turns. So it's a self buff, very similar kind of in a way to Gojo, so like being able to self buff yourself. And I guess I should specify blue Gojo there. And then Merciless Strike deals melee attack damage to all enemies equal to 602.4% of physical technique for 2 hits in total, right? So if you're taking out multiple enemies, you kind of want to self buff yourself, and then you're going to want to skill 3 and do the AoE, right, and do a decent amount of damage. Her ultimate deals melee attack damage equal to 401% of physical technique, and melee attack damage equal to 1400% of curse technique to target enemy or enemies, 2 hits in total. The second hit ignores darkness status, which is nice. I wish both hits did, but being able to ignore darkness status is nice, so that means you're going to be able to land that hit even if you have darkness on you. And then her passive gets my heart racing when turn starts. If self's HP is no more than 70%, can be used only once in the battle, applies 10 cursed energy recovery every turn for 4 turns, and applies 50% physical technique increase and 50% curse technique increase to self. Like, that is huge. 50% physical and curse technique increase is big, but even regenerating 10 cursed energy every turn for 4 turns is pretty solid. So for those 4 turns, like, she's going to be really, really solid, but you do have to drop below 70% HP for that to take effect. And then auto skill 2, damage dealt increase with the Gen attribute. When battle starts, applies 5% damage dealt increase with the Gen attribute to all allies. The effects are removed when the effect ever withdraws from combat. When a member is replaced, applies 5% damage dealt increase with Gen attribute to the replaced ally. So overall, I mean, she's okay. Her kit is very simplistic in comparison to a lot of those other characters that are really, really good nowadays, right? And I feel like that's part of the reason that she's a little bit lackluster. If this skill right here was changed a little bit to increase damage for allies and not just herself, right, then I would say she'd be a top tier unit. Like, she'd be very, very good. But the fact that this only buffs herself is kind of where I feel like she falls off a little bit. And it doesn't really make sense to me. It feels like she should buff more than just herself, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. But very decent character, and overall just not the best. Okay, now as for the recollections, we have the first one here, Sister and Brother Vacation. And so if we go into it, triggered upon using any ultimate skill, applies 90% red attribute damage dealt increase to self for 1 turn. That is a lot. This might be the best thing to pull off this banner. Honestly, it's weird to say that a recollection is better than a character, but because of that, it might be, right? And then you also have when turn starts, if self's HP is no more than 70%, can be used only once in the battle, recovers 20% ultimate gauge for self, and recovers 20% HP for self. So obviously designed for MEI MEI, but I could see this being a very good recollection on like Yuta, for example. That would be a really solid, or Toji. So it can be a really good recollection. And then the other recollection feature on this banner, right, is going to be Curse Spirit Conquest, non-Jujutsu user Rescue 2. Triggered upon using any command skill or ultimate skill, decreases the effects of 2 debuffs applied to all allies by 10% of the original effect, and applies 25% curse technique increase to all allies for 2 turns. Like, it's more of a support recollection you'd run on a support. It's okay. And then the second skill, when battle starts, applies 10% curse technique damage taken decrease to self. Like, it's... I feel like if you pull this one, you've lost, right? So you're aiming for Mei Mei, or you're aiming for Mei Mei's specific recollection. If you happen to pull this one, then it's kind of an L, right? As I say that, you know, I might pull that myself, but we'll see. I do have 20 tickets. I have the 10 free tickets from the event. Make sure you guys grind out the event for that. I have the 10 paid tickets for $7.99. That's like the most justifiable thing to buy in this game. The cubes are ridiculous. And then I have 6,000 cubes here. A lot of these being for free, 500 paid, but we'll do at least 4 multi-summons. With 4 multi-summons, I can go into the exchange shop. I can add to my pity card if I want. I am at 390. I am saving my pity points personally for the limited Gojo and the limited Shoko and Nanami, and I think that's what you all should be doing if you are summoning. If you're not summoning, then just hopefully you're saving up your cubes. But yeah, save those pity points for those 3 characters because that's going to help you out. With that said, now we can finally get into the summons. I got super lucky on my JP account originally when Mei Mei came out. I doubt that continues on Global. Global seems to shaft me, but it could be a good day. We'll see. As we start with no Black Flash and no animation, we did get a recollection in there. Okay, so that's something. We'll take that. I'm just gonna skip ahead. I'm just gonna skip ahead to the recollection here. Of course, it's not even one of the featured recollections. That checks out. All right, so everything here I got was 5 deeped already, so literally nothing of use there for me. Let's hope the second round of tickets comes in clutch, please. No Black Flash, but at least this time we did have Cursed Energy with the punch, so that is something. Another recollection. Like I said, if you walk away with Mei Mei's recollection, I would call that a win still, because that recollection might just be better than the character. Game. And of course, none of these are fake outs. I was hoping, man. I was hoping one of those SR characters would be a fake out, but of course not. And it's Play the Strong, not even a featured brother. Okay, well now I'm going to use cubes, so the game should hopefully be a little bit nicer to me and be like, okay, he's using cubes, we can give him something now, maybe. Realistically, 4 summons isn't a lot in the grand scheme of what it takes to, you know, pity one of these banners, but I don't know. I'm always holding out hope that something happens when I do these summons. I try to summon on every single banner, which is why I do this. I know 4 summons isn't a lot, but it would be a lot. It would cost a lot to go to pity on every single banner to summon on. So, yeah. Okay, recollection in there at least. Yo, this time, I bet none of these are gonna be. It's been so long since I've seen an SR fake out, like it's crazy. Let's go! Okay, like I said, if there is one thing you can get from this banner, I think this is one of the best things to get. That is actually okay. Let's freaking go. We got that recollection. That is big. I'm actually going to bookmark that. I think this recollection is that good, you know? 85% red attribute damage dealt increased for 1 turn on ultimate skill. Like, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good recollection. So, if you want to get anything from this banner, it's probably that. So, that's a dub. All right, one more summon. Can we dub up with Mei Mei? That would be the question. I would like to showcase her again, but I do already have a showcase from my JP account, if you guys want to see that. It looks like we're not getting her, so rip. Well, honestly, I'm not too heartbroken. She's not that great. If she was really good, plus being Mei Mei, I'd be like, oh crap, I have to go to pity for this character. But the fact that she's not that good, I'm not too worried about it. And we did get the recollection. Let me see if I can pull up the tier list really quickly just to show you where that recollection places. And I'll show you Mei Mei on the tier list as well. Okay, so starting with Mei Mei. Mei Mei is actually going to be down in S tier. So she's still in S tier, right? Which is good until you consider the fact that the JP tier list only goes up to B tier, right? So S tier is literally smack dab in the middle because above it you have S+, SS, and triple S. And then below that you have S, A+, A, B, right? So S tier is okay. I wouldn't call it too crazy, but like she can be decent, right? And you see other characters here, characters that people use all the time. Mahito people use, Red Nanami people use, Red Itadori people use all the time, right? Yellow Nanami people use all the time. So by no means is Mei Mei bad, right? She's just kind of mid though. And so that's where I put her. So that's why I would say I wouldn't worry too much about getting her, because like your top priorities coming up are going to be this red Nanami right here. It's going to be this Gojo, and it's going to be this Shoko. They're all coming up here. They are all limited. They are going to be very, very good characters. Now, as for that recollection that you guys just saw me pull, in terms of where that is on the tier list, it's one tier higher. So it is technically rated better than Mei Mei. It's right here in S+ tier. So if we were to say it was on the same tier as Mei Mei, it'd be an S tier. But look at all the other recollections that are in S+ tier, like Adult Time people use all the time. This recollection for Sukuna is an S+ tier, right? It's here with some pretty good recollections. So I would say S+ is fair for it. It's a pretty good recollection. So quite literally, that is the best thing to pull on this banner, is that particular recollection. So if you get that, I would call that a win. But of course, I know everybody's going to want Mei Mei. Let me know how your summons went down in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button. And thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the channel. Peace.